Matthew chapter number 19, verses 25 and 26. When his disciples heard it, they were exceedingly amazed, saying, "Who then can be saved?" But Jesus beheld them and said unto them, "With men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible." One may read this scripture, and the takeaway may be you have to be destitute to be in God's will. But Jesus never said this. Because the latter part, he said, but with God, all things are possible. In other words, in God, you can have finances. But the main thing is to put God first. That is the main thing that Christ was trying to illustrate. But let's take a look at his disciples, though. His disciples made this statement and was just surprised. And it says they were exceedingly amazed, saying, "Who then can be saved?" Now, why do we think the disciples were just so amazed by this statement? Well, let's just take a look. If we go back to the beginning of this chapter, verse number 3, remember the scribes and Pharisees came and they was trying to tempt him and talking about, can a person get divorced for any cause? And they know the teaching that the master did on the Sermon on the Mount back in the 5th, 6th chapter of the Matthew. So they knew he was opposed to just willy-nilly divorcing. Just someone burnt my food and I can divorce them. Someone didn't look like I wanted them to look, so I divorced them. And they knew that he was sternly against this. And when the rubber meet the road, Christ told them plainly, this is not what God meant. You've taken God's law, the Torah, and once again perverted it. And he basically told them that except for fornication shall a man divorce or leave his wife or vice versa. It was such an amazing shock. The disciples was like, if the case of the man be so with his wife, it is not good to marry. You can see right here, this statement, that this teaching utterly shocked the disciples in terms of, Lord, this is not what we've been taught. This is not the conventional thinking. And then if you come down to our story right now, and now we're at the state where he's talking about finances, and he said how hardly it is for a rich man to get into the kingdom of heaven. Can you imagine the disciples? Wait a minute, Lord. A little while ago, you said that if we leave our wife anything but fornication, it's adultery. And then you're going down here saying we can't have any money. It's like, Lord, who can be saved? It's like, man, you can't do anything. You can see the disciples just sheer shock at this teaching.